I'm right here. I can hear you.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out tonight. So, this is episode 3 of Viva Talks, and the topic tonight is should a child visit an incarcerated parent? And I have two guest speakers tonight, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you right now. KHEPRESH, you want to go first?
Hey, peace world. I'm KHEPRESH, owner of Be Elite Fitness, co-owner of the Virtual Fitness League, and creator of the Millionaires Crew Club, which is an investment in motivational speaking group.
Nice. Very nice. Thanks for stopping by on tonight's live. And our next guest speaker is Average Flow, also known as Thought Juice.
Yes, average flow thought juice, Mr. Extraordinary. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, fellow hosts. What's good?
Yes, thanks guys for coming out. Okay, so this is a very controversial topic. Should a child visit an incarcerated parent? I put out a poll on social media with this topic, and I was very surprised. The poll was, should a child visit an incarcerated parent? Yes or no? I was very surprised that only one person said no. Everybody said yes. Honestly, I was expecting a lot of people to say no, no. I don't want my child going to that place, or it's going to be a terrible experience for the child. But surprisingly, majority of folks agreed that a child should visit an incarcerated parent. And I did a lot of research on this topic, and research says that the visits is going to be good for the child's emotional state, and also it's going to help the parent who is incarcerated, to deal with being behind bars. And another factor to take in place is the correctional institute that the parent is in. Okay, so let's dive into this controversial topic. So, what do you guys think? Should a child visit an incarcerated parent? What are your thoughts?
Who you want to go first?
Doesn't matter.
I'll double dutch in then. I think it depends on what the parent's in there for. Um, if there's no need to really bring a child to see like I don't know, a serial rapist or a serial killer or something like that, because that's just traumatic on the child's character, right? Because you got to rebuild the psyche of that child from around that type of just for lack of a better words, like demonic energy that was out, right? So I think it for me it's just depending on what they are in there for.
Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense, Keprish. I also read about that. It's in my notes that I wouldn't want to bring my child to visit a parent that is like a rapist. Right. That would just I would just cancel out. Like, nope, not doing it. I don't even care if the child asks for him or whatever. That's a big no-no. Thought Juice, what do you think?
Yeah, so I agree with the brother who said, yeah, it definitely depends on what the parent is in there for. Also, what will dictate if the parent, you see the child or the child seeing the parent is what kind of parent was this person before they were incarcerated? How attached were they to their child? And yeah. I mean, there's quite a few factors. The relationship beforehand, what they're in there for, where's the facility at, what's going on while they're incarcerated. Because that could ultimately be a chess piece while he or she is navigating through being in prison.
Mm-hmm.
When they see their family, they're like, oh, you got family. You know what I mean? Or there's a lot of things to consider.
Right. Yeah, I conducted a lot of research from researchgate.net, and they say that you should bring a child to visit their incarcerated parents. And they gave a lot of research findings as to why. One that they said was just because the parent is incarcerated doesn't mean that they stop being a parent. And I thought it was interesting, that statement. They mentioned that everyone, incarcerated or not, should be treated with justice and respect. You know, they look at it mainly for the beneficial treatment of the child. Then that's how I took the research that I found. Another findings that they said that the visits can reassure the child that their parents are alive and well.
Right.
So that was interesting also. Go ahead. You want to say something?
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I was agreeing with you. I was just like, yeah. I'm sorry.
I kind of disagree with that. I like, because all right, it's one thing if, like, say we live in New York City, so we don't have like a self-defense law, and your father has to defend himself, and he ends up killing this attacker that's attacking him or your parent, mother, father at 3:00 in the morning, attacking this. You know, we got a lot of crazy people in New York.
Right.
They kill the attacker with the steak knife they're using or something like that. And then they end up having to do like a 1 to 3 year sentence because they didn't run up the steps fast enough. You know how like New York City self-defense laws is wild like that, right? Yes, definitely bring the kid to visit the parent, have the kid write the parent, etc. Because the parent was doing what they were supposed to be doing. So therefore they were functioning in the way that they wanted to still be in the child's life, right? They weren't doing something that like what's his name? That's in the media right now.
Robert Kelly.
Yeah, well, first off, Kel should have been in jail since like 2003.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's keep it a buck, like 2003. But I'm not saying that he, now if his kids were small and he went to jail in 2003, should you be bringing your kid to see this guy that's like pissing on little girls? Probably not. Like, probably not. You can have them write him or something like that, but I don't think we need to waste that, because jail for certain acts is a punishment, right? It's a punishment that's supposed to bring new disciplines in your life to allow you to convert over to a way that allows you to function better in society. Is that the purpose of jail?
Right.
Well, the purpose of jail.
Right. So to rehabilitate, even though we know it doesn't a lot of the times, but sometimes it does, right? Like you got the brother who was locked up, drug kingpin, came out, now he's like one of the world's top chefs. It just depends what for me is more so about what are you in there for? Like you bring your kid to see a parent that's like a cannibal that killed like a house of people and made like cupcakes out of them or something like that. Probably not, right? Like, because they don't really need to be around that kind of energy.
Right. I'm thinking in this instance, are we focusing too much on the institution and not just the parent?
That's a good point. I was just trying to think of the scenario, right? Say, Robert Kelly, he has a child right now, right? Because he's going to be in jail for some time. So should he see his child? So one thing that may be popular now that I know a lot of children, unfortunately, where parents may have been locked up, children are often told mommy or daddy is away at school, right? They may say something along that line. They may say they're away at camp, so how much are they really letting them know about the actual accusation or the actual crime that was committed? And so now we're talking about the parenting piece. So, okay, so let's just say they don't tell them, exactly why they're in there. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot either way. Whether you decide not for them to see the child because now you have an absent parent and you're not physically seeing them, but allowing your child to see your parent, the other parent, in the physical, but they're in this institution. Both ways are impactful. Which one is more positive? I don't know. I don't know. It's tough.
I do believe though, like as the child ages, you can have certain um realistic dialogue, right? But people lie to their children early anyway. They tell them
Hmm.
some fat white man coming down the chimney to give them gifts, and they live in the projects, right? Like it's crazy the lies people tell. No,
Right.
really, like it's just like people.
I assume you're talking about Santa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people white lie to their kids all the time for
Right.
whatever reason, right? Because
Mhm.
well, I understand it because mysticism and mythology allows for joy and world perception and all that other stuff. I get it. It's cool, but so I would just say it's just when the child is ready,
Right.
right? Like if you have a 13-year-old, that's like, yo, why you never took me to see my father? And you go like, well, this is what your father did. Or do you allow the parent that's incarcerated to be honest with the child? Because the child now is of age, right? Because sometimes you got to protect young children because the brain is still growing, right? It's like if you have a 2, 3, 4-year-old, you shouldn't speak bad about the mother or the father to the child. Even
Right.
if like even if they're not, say y'all two don't get along and you're like, just you just shouldn't speak bad about the parent to that child, right? That parent, as long as they're doing the best they can, expect even if they're not, like they distance, allow that child to grow thinking of functionality in the paradigm of relationships,
Mm-hmm.
right? Parental relationships. And that's perfectly fine. Then as they get older, you can give them the real food about it. But still with like, hey, this, I'm just telling you why I kept you away or why this was, and then they'll fill in the rest if they want to. And I think maybe that's a better approach to
Mm-hmm.
look at it, because you still have to be a parent on
Right.
the back and front end, but you can't you can't keep the veil of illusion over a child's eye either after a certain point of age.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the developmental level of the child is key, and also the motivation of the parent behind bars.
Right.
Right. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. It's many different factors that we have to look at when making a decision like that, because prison, if you live in the city, prison is not down the block. It's very far away in Never Land. And it's just many different factors you have to take in place, because personally, when I thought about the topic, um I thought to myself, I wouldn't want to bring a baby into that place, but eventually the child is going to say, where's my father? Where's my father? And then I have to decide on how I'm going to approach it. So it is a very scary topic.
For sure. And I think like bringing up a newborn, like a 1, 2, 3-year-old, like if the 2 or 3-year-old is aware and going like, hey, where's mom? Where's dad? Then you might want to begin to devise the time to make that visit possible.
Right.
Right. But like fresh out the womb, 1 years old, just take care of the baby in a very safe and harmonious environment, because we're also dealing with energy. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of wild energy
Mm-hmm.
in prison.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You got that death energy, you got that suicide energy, you got that um, perverse energy. And even though we can't see it, it still permeates like the jails in the prison.
Mm-hmm. That KHEPRESH, that when you said the energy, when I was reading the research findings, and I'm not agreeing with agreeing or, disagreeing with anything. But the research findings said that you should bring the child to the prison because it'll change the mindset of what they're seeing on TV with prison being so grisly and, so traumatic.
Mm.
Nah,
I don't know whose research was that, because I mean right now they're making business. They're doing business to Rikers right now, and it doesn't seem too peachy at Rikers.
Yeah, and they haven't been to Sing Sing. I got like 2 friends in Sing Sing. It's rough. It's not it's a murder jail, murder prison. It's not like like, but I'm okay with, but you know what though? Even if it's fantasy, right? Even in the movies, it's fantasy. Guess what? That's to negate you from going to prison. The reason I never thought jail and prison was cool, I was up to like, yo, is that co-ed? And they was like, nah. Why would a straight man want to spend time in prison?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in my mind, I already killed it. Like I go, wow, I don't want to, because that would make me upset that I have me beating people up. Like, like I can't see that being the because like my era, and I don't know everybody age, but like sometimes going to jail was like a badge of honor. Yeah, he locked up. You go like word, and that's bogus. So I think like the movies or TV image of it being harsh, in which it is, because clearly you go to Rikers, you go to Sing Sing, you go to other places. There's a place right now in the South. They just kill you and leave you in the cell. They don't even have like guards. Like they kind of let the prisoners police themselves. And so I think like it's good for kids to see the most egregious things in prison to stop them from going like, yo, let me not do nothing too crazy out here.
Right.
Because there's repercussions to actions. That's like saying don't show people the hardships of war. Like you ever watch a World War I movie and there's arms blown all over the place? Guess what? A lot of people died at that one moment. Like, like it's interesting though.
Yeah.
If that's what a study said, I find that intriguing.
Sure. It's very intriguing. And I'm gonna go back to see when this study was written also. So how do we approach and we're gonna go to the chat soon. So how do we approach the child that is home with the non-incarcerated parent, and eventually when they get older, they start asking or it depends on the age that they are, they start asking for the parent. How do we approach that? Do we tell them mommy or daddy's in prison and you can't see them, or how do we approach that question eventually that's going to come out?
You know what, to piggyback what my brother was just saying, you know what, it absolutely can be a tool of like being scared straight, right? And I guess depending on the integrity of the parent, because the parent might even say, you know what, I don't want you to see me like this. You know what I mean? Like, especially if it's a long bid or whatever, it's like you might tell your lady, listen, go on and live, because I'm here for 30 years, or all these things, the length of the sentence, that's a factor. If we're talking about we're talking about a year, okay, then maybe it's not as impactful. Mommy or daddy really could have went off to the university for a little bit and then said, grades made me come back home. You know what I mean? Something along that lines. But I guess they say the truth will set you free, and it's not really something that should be hidden. You know what I mean? Maybe if it's something that is, the person shouldn't be in jail. Like maybe they're a political prisoner. So maybe you don't want to let the child know all of these things. Like, the world is really messed up. Your father, your mother's in there just because they're black. You know what I mean? So maybe you don't want, but then again, maybe you do want to let them know the truth. You know what I mean? As far as, because I sure enough be talking to my daughter like, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute, you like this guy Santa that much? I said, daddy gets you all the things that you want. You know what I mean? And you're showing this guy a lot of love. So, let the truth set them free.
Yeah, and I'm piggybacking. I'm jumping back on it. Like if they're doing a 1 to 3, a quick bullet, yeah, you can play the school thing. The kids like 2 or 3. Like I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like okay, because parents white lie their kids about the tooth fairy all the time. Ain't no tooth fairy. But if it's a long bit, like we talking about 7 to 10, or like 10 to 15, 15 to 20. Listen, first off, as the parent of the child, you got to think about how you're going to move forward in your life without this person, because that's a long time, and you're not pigeonholed to that person. I always tell somebody, hey, I ever get locked up, you married to me, and I ain't doing like a 1 to 3, just give me a 1 to 3, right? Because then I'll be home like a year and 6 months. We all can hold it down. I feel like anybody can do a year and 6 months with you. But once you get past that, Alicia, peace, queen, you good. You don't got to send me no news or nothing. Just send me magazines or my mind. Like, just send me certain books. Like, just be a friend to me. Like, that's it. Like, that's the end of the road. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think when it comes to the child, depending on how long the parents in there matters, what they're in there for matters. And like it's just time. Like if they do 1 to 3, you don't have to go visit because you just had a newborn, or the child is 5. You'd be like, yeah, they want to away to school in another country. They'll be back, and you just get the letter, you take it out the thing, present it to the child. It's fun. It's a white lie, but it's okay. But if we're talking about 10, 15 years, you gotta, when the child is of a particular age, I feel, because even though the truth set people free, a truth told out the wrong time is still a poison to the body, right? To the system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, KHEPRESH, were you finished?
No, I was just saying, like, that was it. Like, that's all what I wanted to say. Like, it's like the statement, we gonna keep it real.
Right.
People keep it real at the worst times. You'd be like, yo, you got us all looking crazy out here. It's not what you're doing, it's when it's done, how it, everything is how we do it. How we do it.
Absolutely, gentlemen. And I feel that, when kids don't know things, they don't know. They just keep going and they go to school, they're free, they have peace. I think it's when parents sometimes tell them too much. You're giving them too much unwarranted information. Even if they ask, you don't have to give all the details to children. Let them go through life with peace of mind and find out things on their own. And then when they come back to you, now you can have a real, authentic conversation with them. I think that's a lot of the problems too, that we feel like, oh, we have to tell the child that this happened. We have to, no, you got to protect, like you said before, you got to protect your kids from certain information and the outside world, because kids don't really know how to handle stuff like us. They don't know how to cope. That's why a lot of them come to school and they act out, because they don't know what's going on in their life, but they know that there's some trauma there. All right, so let's go to the
most adults don't know what's going on in their life.
Right.
And,
That's true.
Right. As you saying that, Grant, I'm just, like I said, I'm thinking about the scenario of, oh, mommy, where's daddy? Oh, Bob, oh, Robbie, he's away at camp. He's away performing. Well, this kid in my class said he did some nasty things. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to tell little Robbie, you know what I mean, what's going on. You know what I mean? I guess it all depends. You know what I mean? But whatever what you just what you shared and what the brother shared, all valid. It just depends on the situation, the scenario, or years.
Where the child is.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the chat. It's chat time. So Andreen said it depends on the crime. She would never take her child to that place. And you have to protect their brain. Hi, everyone, by the way. Sorry.
What's up, Andreen? Hey, holla.
Yeah, definitely. You have to protect his brain. Okay, so we have 6 minutes left.
Okay.
Do you guys? It's half an hour. The lives.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'm
No,
trying to think. Go ahead, brother.
I just want to say, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I would love to do another one of these. I think the topic was genius. It's something that we really don't discuss, especially in our community. It's weird. We have Black people make up 13% of the American population and are incarcerated at 31% and make up 31% of it.
Wow.
That's a crazy number, but that's a whole different topic. But I say all that to say this is definitely something that should be really researched, not by outside forces either, right? Because another culture, on another culture, it's always going to be like these weird perceptions. Like we have our own ability, our own, all these therapists we have, all these psychologists we have. Like kind of like I wish they would get on their job and start doing books and give us our own reference points through our own eyes. That's just one thing. Like that was just the thought of mine. I come out with therapists and psychologists and all of that. Don't sit down and go like, wow, like look at the problem and go like, we will need to discuss, should a child visit somebody incarcerated? What's the effect on that on a Black mind? What's the, on a Black child and emotional, spiritual, type of effect. So I would just like to say, I would love to see those in that field, of course, more so really like step up and give us our own script and dialogue and study on it.
Right. Yeah. I have a question that I forgot to ask earlier. Does it depend on the sex of the parent? If the parent locked up behind bars is a female?
Nah.
Okay.
No, it's still going to depend more so on what they're in there for. Like if she in there for like sex trafficking other women and little boys or something like that, that's going to be a no fly. Right. You know what I mean? Like what we talking about? Because women can, women commit crimes just like men. Men do more violent crimes, absolutely. But don't think there's women not doing like other insane acts. Like there's definitely a few female R. Kellys out there.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I heard about what's that? Jada. They're looking into Jada now. They said that Jada was with a dude who passed away, I think, from Crisscross. Allegedly. Let me throw that in there. Okay. Allegedly. I just heard that today. Allegedly, that's right. They're talking about dropping her whole red table or whatever. But allegedly she linked up with him while she was 22 and he was 15.
Oh, I believe it. I mean,
I never heard of that, but I would just say I think she messing around with
right.
Somebody beneath Will Smith. That's
entanglement.
Friend. It's right. It shows a particular integrity, but I don't. I'll wait for more info on that before I comment because that's a heavy burden to put on somebody's back that she attacking 15 and 22.
Past history of this.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I know their kids are going through some things because there was the entanglement who was one of the children's friends, right? Yeah. Actually, and that's when we was talking about it earlier. I was like, wait a minute, that kind of sounds like a pattern. If you right. So young and pretty much saying I can train you type of thing. It's crazy.
It's pimping. It's this woman pimping.
Right. Yeah.
There's woman pimps out there. Yeah. I ain't saying no names, but they exist.
Yeah. It's real. Yeah. But hey, we got to as a whole collective, we just all got to do better. Parents got to take care of their kids. You know what I mean? That's the foundation of the Black family. So Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But this was an excellent conversation. I appreciate the dialogue with both of y'all. Good people.
I love this conversation. I love real critical thinking conversations. Andrea said, could we have a follow-up with this topic with a child as a guest speaker?
Hey, I know she. Yeah, I know some people. Unfortunately,
It's too, but I don't know if I can get them on.
Well,
got a slew of people.
depends on their age, right?
Depends on their age, because then the parents we're gonna be in some entanglement.
Right.
Yep.
And plus, we gotta realize when we're dealing with children, especially 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that's very developmental. So a lot of stuff might be said that might be too high level for them, or they might be of that level, or they're just not really ready to have that conversation. So I would say, if you are seeking to bring a child on that's experienced, that I want to handle that conversation with a lot of grace. Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, we gotta put the Mr. Rogers. We gotta put the Mr. Rogers sweaters on. You know what I mean? Yeah, we gotta change it all the way up. The logo changes. You know what I mean? Yeah. We have some soft music. You know. Wait. This show is rated what? Wait a minute. This show's rated what? I don't know if I cursed or whatever, but yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Also, one more thing before we end. While I was thinking of this topic, I was thinking about that, what's his name? Khalif. Remember
Khalif Broder?
Yes, I'm thinking of him. I mean, even though it's not, maybe this, the situation is not the same, but the treatment that he faced and suffered, while in prison, it just brought back a lot of pain.
I mean, yeah, that situation is sad, because he's just a regular good kid. He wasn't into nothing.
Right.
So his street savvy was already at ground zero. And then you're putting him in one of the worst places in America.
Right.
And that was a real crime. That was like a real crime. But it's like, Black bodies in America are not really seen as much, whether male or female.
True.
But when we begin to change how we, when we hear these stories, how we respond, like I always say, who's the officer that arrested him? Who was the guards that was watching him? All of them need to be beat the fuck up. Every day. It should be no place they can walk.
Right.
Like, until we start giving the proper response to like real criminal acts against us, I don't know if it'll ever stop, because you can't force, you cannot pray your way into somebody treating you humane, but you can definitely, for damn sure, show power and force to them to know how to treat you.
Right.
So, but that's just me. I know that's a different topic, but it's
okay. It all ties into the same.
Oh yeah. Just as you was talking, because I'm like, okay, well, we can get deep now. Now we start talking about how the prison system and the school system kind of look similar, but that's I don't know. We want to go all the way deep. Yeah.
We'll touch on it though. When you're ready to touch it, we definitely can touch it for sure.
Yeah.
We can. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for this awesome live and your awesome responses and just your awesomeness.
All right. You too, good people.
I appreciate both of you. Everybody have a good evening.
Yes. Yep. And thank you guys for coming out and listening and participating on tonight's live. And I will see you on the next live, which is going to be in 2 weeks, because I do this bi-weekly. Episode 4 in 2 weeks. Don't know the topic.
This is the audience reaction. Yay! And dream. All right. Peace, y'all. Enjoy the convo. Later.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Later.